Hi, this is Alex from devstories.eu. Matplotlib, Episode 3 of 5. You need to build a dashboard with a wide header chart and two smaller charts below it. In the past, this meant calculating grid fractions and manually placing axes. Now you can build that exact layout by typing an ASCII art string. This is mastering layouts, subplots, and mosaics. Most data visualizations start with a basic grid. When you need a 2x2 layout, you call the standard subplots function, specify the number of rows and columns, and Matplotlib hands you back a figure object and a multi-dimensional array containing your individual axes. You use standard array indexing to select a specific axis and draw your data. That works perfectly until you add text. By default, Matplotlib positions axes based on fixed proportions of the figure size. It does not account for the physical space taken up by your titles, axis labels, or tick marks. As a result, the x-axis labels of your top row will often overlap the titles of your bottom row. Instead of writing custom spacing adjustments, you should handle this at the figure creation stage. Pass the layout argument set to the word constrained. Constrained layout is an optimization engine. Right before the figure is drawn, it measures the bounding boxes of all your text elements and pushes the axes apart just enough to prevent collisions. Standard subplots and constrained layouts cover symmetrical grids, but dashboards are rarely symmetrical. You often need charts that span multiple rows or columns. This brings us back to the wide header chart spanning the top row, with two smaller charts side by side underneath. Instead of dealing with low-level grid specification objects, you can use a semantic method called subplot mosaic. You call subplot mosaic directly on your figure object. It accepts a visual representation of your layout, written entirely in strings. Each unique character you type represents a discrete chart. If a character is repeated across rows or columns, that chart stretches to fill those spaces. To build our dashboard layout, you can pass a single string where rows are separated by semicolons. For the top row, you type the capital letter A twice, then a semicolon. For the bottom row, you type the capital letter B, then the capital letter C. The entire string is simply AA, semicolon, BC. Matplotlib parses this string and sees that A occupies two columns in the first row, so it creates one wide axis spanning the top. It sees B and C occupy one column each in the second row, so it creates two smaller axes below. Here is the key insight. Because standard arrays lose meaning in complex layouts, subplot mosaic does not return an array. It returns a standard Python dictionary. The keys of this dictionary are the exact string characters you mapped out in your design. If you want to draw a line chart on your wide header, you simply access the dictionary using the key A. If you want to put a scatter plot in the bottom right, you access the dictionary using the key C. Your plotting code becomes completely decoupled from grid coordinates. You can also use this system to create intentional white space. If you want an empty gap in your grid, you put a period character in your layout string. Matplotlib reads the period and leaves that specific grid cell completely blank. Complex grid math is a thing of the past. Modern layout design is just typing the visual shape you want and letting the dictionary map your data to the exact right space on the screen. That is all for this one. Thanks for listening and keep building.